Coming up on this episode of The Village Idiom.
What would be the most challenging cake now in society that would just like be the most awful? Like, so it would have peanut butter,
pork swirl.
It would have shellfish.
Fish eyes.
Oh, like that way.
Yeah, like this cake.
Strawberries.
Things that people will have
and
some
gluten.
sort of
gluten.
Gluten. This cake will have gluten in it. That'll kill half the kids.
Village Idiom.
Hello and welcome to The Village Idiom.
We are a podcast that every week chooses a popular saying to take a shallow but hopefully comedic and once in a while even interesting dive into its meaning, its usage, its origins. But also we're going to use it to hang our otherwise directionless conversation on. My name is Jurassic Mark.
And I am Skinny.
And between us we have...
Alpha Gecko.
Alpha Gecko. That's very military sounding.
Yeah.
Alpha Gecko Romeo.
The origins is nothing close to military.
We got an airstrike.
Give
in
us
Alpha
the
Gecko.
origins.
Okay, so I had like a computers class in high school, and me and my friend were messing around because we were supposed to be doing work, but we just didn't want to because we were in like grade 9 and we just didn't bother. So we were just messing around, and we were like, we need a name for this project. So we went to a Google random name generator.
Hilarious.
And we got Alpha Gecko. And we thought it was hilarious. I have a video on my phone of him holding a piece of paper going, ha 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 ha, Alpha Gecko. And it's just that's where it came from. I thought it was so funny.
It was
And it
so
just
random.
stuck.
It was created by a random name generator.
Yeah, on Google. Literally, we looked up random name generator, hit it like 3 times, and it came with Alpha Gecko. That's literally it.
That's
Google,
awesome.
Yeah,
That's its own neat story.
Yeah, I'm glad I asked. That's great. The AG. You are the AG.
Well, randomly, if you randomly look up today's idiom, what would you find?
Well, what is today's idiom? Is that the real question?
I don't know.
Let's start with this, and then we'll get into it.
Sounds
It
good.
felt so great. I just wanted to go in and hit 4 for 4 and qualify for Worlds one last time. And winning was just icing on the cake.
There it is.
Icing on the cake.
Winning was icing on the cake, and that's exactly it. The meaning, or the definition is an attractive, this is right out of the dictionary, an attractive but non-essential addition or advancement. So,
Like what kind of advancement?
well,
Like, is
so in this case, this was Stick It, the movie Stick It. So all about gymnastics. So she's saying she just wants to get into the finals, but to win,
That would be the icing on the
like
cake.
she would have been thrilled to compete.
Right, just being amongst the top dogs.
So a
gymnasts,
non-essential
whatever
element
they
would
are.
be to actually be the winner. So it would be the icing on the cake.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know like zero about gymnastics.
Well,
Is
it's
it-
mostly eating icing off a cake.
They seem so skinny.
I find it hard to believe that any of those any of those gymnasts are eating cake at all.
Well, I'm thinking there might be a little bingy purgy. Oh, hello.
Oh, are we still on?
I think we should be on.
Dave?
Are you here? Google, are you listening right now? Yeah, I think it's enjoy some cake and then enjoy your forefinger.
So fun. That's hard to recalibrate after that sentence. It's kind of a weird collection of things because I said Dave because of that computer voice, and it reminded me of.
You're talking about Hal?
Hal. Hal
Yeah.
calls him Dave, right? Is it Dave?
Dave is the astronaut who's with the Hal.
Right, and so
2000
it's like
or whatever. it is.
Dave. So funny enough, the story I was about to tell is about a mutual friend of ours, of all of ours, named Dave, who actually we just heard speak this week. Mm-hmm. But thinking about icing on the cake reminded me of a story that I wasn't present for, but I've heard so many times.
Yeah, this
you
was a
were
good-
present for,
Yeah,
right?
this is a good one.
Do it.
Well, it was Dave's birthday, and the tradition around our office. So he was a coworker of ours, and the tradition around the office was for your birthday there would be a cake. And so you know it's coming. There's going to be a card and a cake and
It's a classic.
little something going on.
Cake in
and
the coffee room.
Yeah, and so Dave, knowing that the cake must be somewhere around, like finds the fridge that it's located in, and he goes up in front of the security camera with the cake that he pulled out. And he just licks all over it.
Licks the icing.
And so he's like making out with this cake in front of the security camera. And then doesn't say anything to anyone, puts the cake back in the package and all the rest of it. And so when it's time about happy birthday, and then everyone's eating the cake. It's like,
You can sing it now. It's public domain.
Okay, there you go. And so everyone is enjoying the cake. And then later he shows us in the video where he tells us where to find it in the
After
timeline.
everyone's been eating
After
it.
everyone's already eaten it.
That is a COVID fiesta right there.
Pre-COVID, years
Yeah.
before.
That's just SARS and mono and AIDS and
Yeah, there's all sorts of other
whatever.
reasons.
Yeah, that was pre-COVID.
I'm just glad I wasn't on staff yet because I don't even like pre-COVID. I don't even share a drink.
Right.
Like, no,
That's not your thing.
Yeah. So to know that he had licked my cake,
Yeah.
that would have ended it.
When I was searching through this idiom, there was lots of not all the research was on the up and up, and so the sharing of cake and it's a bad idiom. It's a bad.
It took you to bad sites, bad images.
It's not good. No images. It's just it's like it's an all over the place phrase for just the extras on top of a situation.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you mentioned that briefly before recording, and I didn't come across any. Like I got mostly like recipes or maybe it was how I searched it because I added the words idiom and origin into it.
I put on like unique or like obscure. Maybe that's why.
I added 3 X's at the end.
It's just not good.
Yeah.
Let me save you the hassle. Just don't bother looking it up.
Don't look it up. Just trust us. What we're going to share with you today is absolutely accurate. But glad you're here with us. And the idiom du jour is completely by random. It's not like let's get Alpha Gecko because he loves cake and icing.
Oh, cake, yes.
Which do you even have a sweet tooth?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're like, I have something sweet, you don't even have to name it. I'll be like, I'll give it a try. I don't care if I'm like sick with like pneumonia for like 2 weeks. I don't know how you get pneumonia from a cake. I mean, I'd be down.
You're eating the cake wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we could just count the candy wrappers while we were waiting for Skinny to show up.
Hey. I wasn't the worst in the room.
This guy loves a high chew.
Oh, absolutely. That video is fantastic.
Oh, is there a video? Is this a 3 minutes
We
gone
did 3
history
minutes on the high chew.
on the flavors, or what was the?
Just that he's a high chew addict.
Well, my family was in Whistler, and we were at like a candy shop right before we left, and I was like, there are like many knockoffs of high chew, and I love grape flavor, so I was like, do you want to do a 3 minutes gone on grape high chews? And he was like, sure. So
absolutely.
literally we got home and I immediately was like, all right, I'm going to Skinny's house. It was great. It was such a great video. I enjoyed that a lot.
I guess since it's 3 minutes, you can do a full documentary on just one flavor of high chews.
It's very niche. It's a very niche video for the high chew connoisseur.
I was thinking about birthday cake flavored ice cream, which it's pretty accurate. Like they've got those kind of flavored things down, right? But why don't they have a ribbon of icing going through it? Like it's the cake flavor.
Okay, so
I bet you they tried that.
there was
and
a
it didn't work
discussion
very
on.
well.
We just had a light discussion on this just the other day regarding Rocky Road ice cream.
Yeah, I'm the biggest fan of Rocky Road, but it's
Right,
like
so you're discussing about like the ribbon of marshmallow.
that's not Rocky Road.
Okay, now did you have? I sent some Rocky Road ice cream over to your house the other day. Did you sample it?
I don't recall. It probably got eaten before it could get to me, to be honest.
Make sure you're right up on this microphone here.
And so I made sure to include, because that was the critique, it needed real marshmallows, not
Yeah.
a ribbon
Right.
of flavor through it.
Yeah, and we went to the beach on Sunday, and the beach, our beaches around here, White Rock Beach, is like ice cream shop after ice cream
Right.
shop. And so I went into this one, and I asked first, I'm like, your Rocky Road, does it have marshmallows? She's like, yes. I'm like real marshmallows.
Actual marshmallows.
Yes. Oh, it does. Liars.
Ribbon.
Yeah, a ribbon of whatever.
Marshmallow flavoring.
It tastes good. Like, it's not disgusting. But it
So just like
it's
isn't that
called
ice
Rocky
cream?
Road because it's supposed to be rocky.
chunks in it.
Gotta have chunks in it. So disappointing. Same with, now we're way off of cake and icing, but spumoni. Do you like spumoni?
I do like spumoni.
So if you go to the old spaghetti factory, their classic dessert is spumoni ice cream. But it's not real, because spumoni ice cream is supposed to have actual chunks of maraschino cherries and candied fruits. And usually it's just got that flavor ribbon through it now.
It's just one of those ways to cut back. It's pretty high living though, because where I grew up, it was like more poor. and it was like this.
It's funny that you can use the word more when referring to poor.
It was so
more poor than
poor.
you.
It was po.
It was less.
And so, like when you got like the rough neighborhood and fights and stuff happening, there was an act. I was gonna read you through this this fight that happened in this cake fight in this French neighborhood.
Sounds good already.
Yeah, they said this neighborhood was a tough neighborhood.
You grew up in a French neighborhood?
No, it's like, those immersion kids.
Oh.
Those immersion kids, right? Am I right? High five on those immersion kids.
Right.
Boom, you know what I'm saying? And, the French immersion kids, when they'd fight, and they'd like cover you in chocolate and frosting. They put cherries on you, and it's a poor neighborhood, and it was just difficult living in the gâteau. In the gâteau.
I don't get it.
Gâteau is French for cake.
Oh, okay. I'm waiting for more.
But when you gotta explain it, it's no good.
I know.
See, I'm glad you were here then, because Alpha Gecko's close enough to leaving his high school years that he remembers some French.
In the gâteau.
Okay, I get it now.
Oh, forget it.
In the gecko.
Alpha Gecko. And the mama cried.
Okay, so here, you want to jump in?
Into what?
Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, you know what.
What about jump out of?
like a cake?
Yeah. Why don't they put
gonna be
real
a-
icing?
It's going to be a big cake.
Okay, before we get into
Like
it.
a ball pit, but like just cakes. Or like Timbits or something. Just like,
Cake pops
It's going to need a few.
without the sticks.
yeah.
Cake, actual cake icing, fondant or fondant, however you say it.
I'm not fond of fondant.
No, it's awful.
It's disgusting.
But I guess it's literally just for the artistic value.
Yes.
Yeah, my aunt actually makes cakes. The cakes themselves really good, but she uses fondant to make them look really cool. And like she'll do it for like her kids' birthdays or whatever. We'll go over and be like, yeah, celebrate the cousin, and then like we'll have the cake, and I'll literally like peel off the fondant. I'm like, I don't want it.
And that's what it is.
And you like sweet things.
Yeah, I do like sweet
You're
things. but
peeling it
there's,
off like a
certain-
sunburned child, where just the whole layer comes off, and you
Exactly. It's like, and then okay, now I have cake and sugar.
That's what it should be called. Peel. Like, do you eat the peel?
Do you peel your
Do you eat
cake?
the peel? How do you peel your cake?
Usually
Why is it
with a
called
spoon.
fondant? That sounds French too.
It's probably French. The French are always in there with
Fondant and gâteau.
with things that are pastry and fine. It's like,
Croissant?
that phrase that gets attributed to Marie Antoinette. The let them have cake.
Right.
Well, as it like turns out that the phrase I wrote it down in the French, qu'elles mangeront de la brioche, which has nothing to do with cake, is the phrase, and neither does it have anything to do with Marie Antoinette. That she didn't make it. It's just been ascribed to her, but there's no documentation that says that the let them eat cake. In fact, that means let them eat brioche, which is bread. Like a brioche bun.
So she's not necessarily even being mean.
Well, it's a higher end bread.
Okay.
So it's like it was the situation was that everyone was so poor that you couldn't even afford bread. She said they don't have to eat bread. Let them eat brioche. And so it's like let them eat snooty bread.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's what she
Hoity-toity
was.
bread.
So she's like, oh, they don't have bread. Well, let them eat brioche.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with cake.
Which would be a cake, though, back then. Like, when we get into origins, we're going to find
cake
out.
is cake. Cake is cake.
The cake is a lie.
Okay, here we go. You ready for this?
Sure.
I said some words. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind.
All right, origins. Origin, you glad I didn't say orange? Because that's been 3 weeks in a row I've said oranges instead. All right, so let's get into the dirty, the nerdy, the origin. So the reason I was asking about brioche is, would it have been considered cake, is the history of cake goes all the way back to ancient times. Cake itself, but the first cakes were very different from what we eat today. It was much more like bread, but sweetened a little bit, like by honey or some sort of sweetener, whether it's raw
Aspartame.
sugar, aspartame. So according to the food historians, I love that can be an occupation. There are food historians.
That's a pretty niche
What do you do
market.
for a living?
Yeah.
I've eaten a cake that's 3 times my age.
Yeah, exactly.
Just eating
Food historians, the precursors of modern cakes, which are round ones with icing. We're going to get into it.
Good.
I'm a cake historian.
They say I'll live till
sampling.
29.
We did a podcast where they had like the oldest Egyptian crumbs or something, right?
I don't know. Just why would you eat it at that point?
If it was 3,000-year-old breadcrumbs,
It's
wouldn't
probably
try
a
it?
limited thing. Of course, I would eat it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I wouldn't share my crumb.
It's grape flavored.
Oh, then now I have to. Put a little, it's like,
They were first baked in Europe sometime in the mid 17th century. I found conflicting things like going back even earlier than that, the sweetened bread, but I guess being more referenced as a dessert or a treat, it was somewhere in the mid 17th century. Here's something interesting. The term cake, the actual word, has a long history. The word itself is of Viking origin. From the Old Norse word, are you ready for it? Kaka.
No.
Yes.
So eating caca?
Yeah.
No. That's not good. That doesn't taste right.
No, it's the icing on the caca.
Well, you talked about stories where there's a...
Sometimes the caca is the icing.
Now, you were an amazing video game player.
oh, I love games. Yeah, they're
And so
fantastic.
you're a Smash Brothers champion.
I mean,
How do you feel about that situation? What would you say is an icing on the cake kind of situation related, I don't know, maybe related to the win or just pressing through, the persevering?
I mean, the icing on the cake could happen in one of two situations for me. The first one is there's specific moves in Smash Bros that send your opponent straight down.
You spike 'em.
So if they can't make it back to the stage and they're dead anyways, and you just run off and hit them, it's called disrespect because they're dead anyways. So you just go for it and make it that much more painful. That's my favorite.
That's the icing on the
but
cake right there.
the
You don't
other
need
one
to
is-
do it. See?
oh.
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Exactly.
But it's that much
that
more
is the icing
enjoyable.
on
So
the
much
cake.
better because they
like
should
you were
feel
gonna
bad.
die.
They should feel bad.
But then what ends up happening is like some footstool situation and you end up losing
you
your
just like
jump and then you
stomp them
die.
into.
Like
you just
someone
stomp
falls
them
off
down
a
to-
cliff. You can't save them, so you throw a rock at them.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you kick them on the way down.
Exactly.
That's
Fair enough. What's the second
The
situation?
second one is when you do something that's so moronic, so unconceivably dumb, and they still land in it. Like if there's this character that has
They
a
still
massive
land in
sword.
the caca.
Yeah, exactly. They go for the caca and they get sliced. Like there's this character with a massive sword and he just like swings it for one of his really strong
the
attacks.
Schlongschwart.
And
Sliced.
he swings it and like
Swings it.
you can hold it for like 3 seconds or whatever. And sometimes people try to guess and go for right after you let go. If they just run into it, Wonder Bread. It's the best feeling ever, especially if they die way sooner than they should. That's
great.
my favorite.
That's the icing on the cake.
Oh, absolutely. Wonder Bread.
It's fun. Yeah, I knew there had to be some sort of
That's the
situation.
best.
where
And you were quick to have an icing on the cake story.
so
That's fantastic.
satisfying.
Icing or frosting has been around for hundreds of years, but not thousands. Like it's much newer, considering that bread goes all the way back to ancient times. It's only in the last 300 or 400 years that icing or frosting has been around. Icing prior to that was something that you might put on the cake pre-bake, and so it would harden. Which you've probably had cakes like that where it's hardened as it bakes, or it's infused into it. But adding icing or adding frosting after is only a few hundred years old. And initially, people would enjoy cake without it because refined sugar was crazy expensive. And the cake in and of itself was already enough of a treat if we go back far enough. And even for some of us, right? Like if there was no icing in the room, the cake is still a treat.
So where do you land then on the tuxedo cake, which is basically like fudge with icing and a thin layer of cake, and then fudge and then icing and
it's still cake in there.
frosting and then a thin layer of cake. So if I just throw a thin layer of cake in it, it's a cake?
Sure.
Sure.
What else would it be? What's the option?
This
if
is
you
a
remove the
frosting.
cake all
This is
together,
a frosting. Would you like a piece of
it's just
frosting?
it's just pudding. It's a cup of pudding.
don't
Frosty,
know.
Wendy's.
Because things like a tuxedo cake, it arguably is more toppings than cake.
Right. Right.
I don't know. It's like you got a bowl of toppings and then put one like a dollop of ice cream in it. It's
I
like,
do that.
Would you like a bowl of ice cream?
So
it's
I'll
like
put
kind of
like
a bowl of toppings.
breakfast cereal and marshmallows and whatever I have in the house, and then put in the ice cream after and stir it around enough so that it's like,
Adheres?
wow, it barely. This is not.
It's dry?
It's more topping than ice cream. Yeah, it's.
Would you like some ice cream
chewy.
with your toppings?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so if the icing hits that point where it's so dominating, which is I think is one of those fondant type problems, it's like it ruins the cake.
Yeah, totally. So considering that the cake was already a treat, adding the frosting would have just made an already good situation further enhanced. So this as an idiom is ideal because the cake is great, but the icing on the cake, that's not necessary. But thank you, Jesus.
Right. It's not necessary. This is already opulent.
Yeah.
Let's throw some calories on there.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. The word frosting has been used since the 1600s as a verb, the act of covering a cake in some sort of sugary, buttery coating. The first use of it as an idiom that's recorded anyway, in a figurative sense, comes from The Sin of Pat Muldoon, written by John, I don't know how to say this last name, McLeaman, 1957, and the quote is as such. There are sins and there are... I think that's a typo. There are sins and there are... It says sing. I'm pretty sure it's sins. There are sins and there are sins, but the sins I speak of are the chocolatey icing on the cake of life. So it's not the actual usage, but it is the first time icing is used in written form as in a figurative sense. So
Implying that the sin itself isn't good, you need something higher than the sin to push it over the edge?
yeah.
Well, I just don't know if I agree with that.
Well, you're the one that came up with bad search things, so
Yeah, fair enough. But it was honest. Yeah. The search plus like unique or interesting.
right.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I guess it's interesting.
Have you had? So I think I feel like I'm repeating myself. If we might have had a different idiom
The one on dementia?
referring to cake, because I feel like I'm repeating my story. But I know that my mom, growing up, she used to hide prizes in our birthday cakes.
Oh,
so
interesting.
you'd
Stuffed
find-
animal.
A nail or two.
Well, that's the thing is, looking back, I'm like, was that truly what? Like, she would put coins and things, and so
Oh boy.
you know, we did
Lead.
something because we looked up. There was odd cakes and prizes for cakes, and so if you got a quarter, you're like, yeah, I got a quarter. But I distinctly remember like thimbles and
Thimble?
safety pins, and
Buttons, other
Yeah.
things that kids can choke on.
things that you could clearly choke on, but it was like kind of like the dummy prize. You wanted the money, but you might get a.
I bet you could
Might
make
get a button.
big money, like a $5.
And I remember my dad going, "Did you put stuff in the cake? Yeah, little prizes. We're gonna kill somebody."
Tax.
I'm guessing you weren't the favorite child.
I thought it was super fun. Like, nobody died, nobody choked,
The
and
good old days.
I guess we knew though. Like, you're biting your cake on.
The cake had peanut butter in it.
Yeah,
No one died.
The most
Back in the
intense
good
cake
old
eating
days.
of all time.
yeah. Anyway,
What would be the most challenging cake now in society? That would just like be the most awful. Like, so it would have peanut butter.
pork swirl.
It would have shellfish.
Fish eyes.
Oh, like that way.
Yeah, like this cake.
Strawberries
Things that people will have
and
some
gluten
sort of gluten. This cake will have gluten in it. That'll kill half the
gluten,
kids.
peanuts.
Any
What
sort
was the
of
second
sugar.
thing you said? Gluten,
Shellfish.
peanuts, shellfish, shellfish, and
Shelf?
I don't
You're
know.
so shellfish.
Throw a bullet in there.
Yeah, plus your mom's prizes. It'd be like the most deadly cake.
With the
Deadliest
most
cake.
natural. Take out my mom's prizes. The most natural ingredients, and we could.
Is that a prawn? So gross.
With the shell.
Yeah.
Just pops its eyes open.
Okay. Before we get into any sort of
goodness.
games, you have got to hear this one. You're gonna love this. See if you,
Sure.
Skinny. I want to know if you recognize what movie this is from.
We go out there, we do the song that we're known for, we get it out of the way, and then, hey, here's the icing on the cake.
What's the icing?
Well, the icing is the rest of the act.
That's the cake.
No, that's the dressing.
Recognize it?
No, not at all.
A Mighty Wind.
Oh, okay.
You remember that movie?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
Have you seen A Mighty Wind?
I have not. No.
Okay,
I'm
it's
very uncultured.
Christopher Guest has a series of mockumentaries, and this one is about folk singers.
Best in Show.
Best in Show, yeah. Waiting for Guffman. Classic started with Spinal Tap.
Yeah, that's funny.
So anyway, it was.
But so that thing happens that when you go and see a live act, you want to see it exactly as it is on like the CD or MP3 or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, it's funny how
not like, oh, this is our current rendition of
here's
the song.
our acoustic version.
I'm good. We're gonna do this one unplugged.
No.
Yeah, we're here for you to do it exactly like the CD.
Totally.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
CDs are these discs that used to contain music. Yeah.
There's no video on there?
No video. No.
Don't let it.
It's
What are
pre-video.
those? What are those like squares that like have holes in them? Are those like
Pop-Tarts.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So you like
You could
stick
eat
it
them
like
if you
in the
put it in
microwave.
enough.
There's icing on it. It's like, Pop-Tart. That's
Mini
cake.
cake
With icing, isn't it? Or is that pie? It's more of
it's
a pie,
got a
isn't it?
filling depending on what kind you get.
Pop-Tart. Or is it a tart? Oh, wait, it's in the name.
Oh, wait a minute. Or is it
Shucks.
a pop?
Yes,
is
we
a
can
soft
drink,
drink.
it.
You pop it in the toaster.
Something like that, anyway.
Unless
all
you
good.
don't cook it, then it's a soft serve Pop-Tart.
Just quit too early.
I was actually dying laughing at that. The soft serve bit. Oh, that was
If you don't know what we're
hilarious.
talking about, take a look at episode 84.
Sure.
83.
Sure, somewhere
83. Where we try our spice cream.
Having but do you Pop-Tart? Are you a warmer? Do you toast? No.
No.
Do you toast your Pop-Tarts?
I almost never have Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, me neither. Stupid.
But
They're not good for you. Not healthy. Not healthy.
I
Not
think
healthy.
if I
Bad
was-
baby.
I think if I was eating them with people, they'd be hitting the toaster. But if I'm just opening the cupboard in the
you're
night,
fancy.
it's not getting
Yeah.
toasted. It's a cookie.
It's a tart.
You don't toast your cookies. You toss them.
There you go. Right. I'm not here to say what you should do or shouldn't do with your cookies. It's a free country.
As long as you eat them, it's fine. If you throw out the cookie, I will find you.
Oh, well.
Good
We're
stuff.
heading into our time here, so we should think about wrapping things through. What's happening right now?
Well, Alpha Gecko, I hope you're familiar with a little game we like to play called Riddlink. Riddlink is a game where we take two-part trivia-based question, and it requires a two-part but overlapping answer, overlapping by syllable or sound. And so thank you for all of you who have been playing along and jumping in with your guesses and your
Our
answers.
illegitimate children are very faithful.
There
and-
is nothing more fun than hearing from you guys.
Yeah, and please try and beat these times. Like, so when it goes out there, you try and beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then send in your satisfaction. That would be the icing on our cake.
What are the chances you pre-thought to have one?
I have one, and I'd like to think it's a bit difficult. It's not going to be like mind-boggling.
Oh, let's
but
let
I'd
you
like
go
to-
first.
okay.
That's great.
Yeah, you jump
Okay,
in
so
first.
I don't have a way to like set this up. I'm just going to put it into
sounds
the
good
two parts.
already.
So it's a steep cliff as the first part, and then the best part of the cake is the second part.
Steep cliff. And then
I'm
we're going to
like
go
it's
into
like a
icing.
Precipicing on the cake.
Yeah, there it is.
Precipicing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
There it is.
Nice,
Clearly not
thank
very
you.
difficult, but yeah.
It's good. I have an extensive vocabulary.
Well, the thing is...
I read the back of shampoo bottles in French.
Ghetto. the difficulty level for riddling, once you've played a while,
Yeah.
gets into just the actual knowledge. Like,
Yeah.
how in-depth is your trivia?
Yeah.
Or, and we've played, if you can have an overlapping by multiple syllables.
Yeah.
And we've done triples too, where it's like not a two-part.
We're not here to brag, but we've done triples and stuff. We're pretty good.
Triple riddling. Triple.
Okay, let me get one.
Okay, you go.
triple.
Just to get the ball rolling. Could be hard. This could be harder for age demographic situations.
I was
All
thinking
right.
about that too with some of mine. I'm like, this is predates your life.
You know what? You guys ready? You know what?
Yeah.
Some Robert Van Winkle would make this beyond perfect.
Vanilla ice, baby. So vanilla icing on the cake.
Vanilla icing on the cake.
Rob Van Winkle is Vanilla Ice.
Oh, okay.
Do you know Vanilla Ice?
I've heard of the
Stop.
song, yeah.
Collaborate and listen. Ice, baby.
under pressure.
Okay. All right, I got one.
Yeah, let's
You guys
do
ready?
it.
Don't look over here. Alpha Gecko's cheating.
I can't. Yep.
Okay, ready?
If you don't cheat, you're just cheating yourself.
That's right.
Here we go.
That's just a bonus for this hit song.
Icing on the cakey breaky heart.
Yeah, wow.
Nice.
You know that song, even though it's way, way, way older than you.
I mean, I've heard it before, but I wouldn't be able to name it.
Yeah, well, not in that
Right?
quick. That was just the intro, like, what, 3 seconds of the song? Big Billy Ray Cyrus fan, are you, Skinny?
Yeah, of course.
Have you been to see him?
No. No, but I have been to Montana. See if that counts for anything.
Have you seen a girl named Hannah there? Or?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
It'd be a level beyond amazing to listen to this Billy Ray Cyrus song.
Is it?
Yes.
No way. That's why you got it so quick.
I just finished listening to this.
Oh, that's so funny.
Fantastic.
I see
thought
on
I
the
was-
cakey breaky heart.
Icing on the cakey breaky heart. What are the odds of coming up with the exact? It's happened only just a couple times.
Yeah, handful. Yeah.
Yeah, in 85, 6, 5,
85 episodes.
85 episodes. It's only happened a couple times.
Yeah.
I swear, baby.
I got one more that we'll leave for everybody. You can tell everybody how they can get a hold of us, but I'm wondering, would you come back and do one more with us? Because this flew by. This half hour flew by. You want to do another one?
Stick around.
You want to give me a quarter?
It'd be the icing on the cake.
It'll be in your piece of cake.
Ah, okay, yeah. Okay, I just gotta find it. Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. We'll take you in for the next one if you can stick around for a bit. But for our illegitimate children out there, please reach out. Give the answer for this one. You can reach out to us on Instagram at the.village.idiom. Email thevillageidiom@gmail.com or whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter at 3 Minutes Gone.
Beautiful. Here it is. You guys ready for this? You got to think about it because I had to be selective on how to get these words strung together.
Okay.
These human noggin dwelling bugs are an unexpected extra.
Okay. That's good.
All right.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you can pick that one up. Drop in your answers. We'd love to hear from you. It's been fun putting today together. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's all good?
Absolutely.
It's a good one. Okay, so make sure you drop those in, and we look forward to hearing from you. I'm Skinny.
I am Jurassic Expo Ernie Mark.
And I'm Alpha Gecko.
And these are the Village Idioms.
I got nothing.
That's 3 minutes gone.